days in the cups. They don't do anything.
Hello and welcome to the regular Tuesday edition of Spurs Diehards TTID, Tottenham Till I Die. Tonight we'll be previewing Ferencvaros versus Spurs this Thursday, and we'll probably talk about any other topic of conversation that comes up. Right, so without further ado, I'll welcome Pete from the chat into the channel. And
He's nearly finished.
All right, we got six watching at the moment, which is good for a Tuesday when there's games on, there's European games on. Right, I'll introduce the guests. Phil, how are you getting over your illness?
Still trying to get over the shitty cold, Adrian, but slowly but surely getting there. Looking forward to getting into the topics, and hope you guys are okay and everyone in the chat.
And Brad, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I had a cold last week, and got over it rather actually quite quickly. So it probably wasn't as bad as I thought it was. So yeah, I'm good. I'm good as 4 wins in a row. You've got to be feeling pretty good, aren't you? So, but yeah. So hello to everyone in the chat. Hope everyone's
Mark,
well.
how are things inside the country?
All is good. All is good. I have had no lurgies at the moment, but I'm sure they're on the way. It's that time of year, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay as well.
It's sort of lurgy time. It's lurgy time this time of year.
Yeah, it is now, all the way around through winter, for the next 4 or 5 months at least.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, we're going to preview Ferencvaros against Spurs. I've got some information on these. Right, we're facing Hungarian opposition for the first time, but Ange has beaten Ferencvaros twice before as manager at Celtic. Ferencvaros are Hungary's best supported club and based in the capital, Budapest. They say that 1 in 5 people in Hungary support them. They're sort of the Man United of Hungary, right? Got no better sense, obviously. And they play a 4-2-3-1 basically, and they'll probably be playing a very low block. I'd little look against them. So we go into the game. A couple of interesting pointers before we decide on who's going to be playing. Dragusin obviously can't play because he's got a 1-match ban for that sending off. And we have a couple of injuries. Well, Richarlison we know's out, and we're not sure about Son, whether he'd be rested for Brighton away on Sunday before the dreaded international break, which starts from the 6th of October to the 14th. And I'm sure we're all thrilled to bits and looking forward to the international break, right? So the only other thing is with the announcement of the squad, you have to announce your B list of academy players 24 hours before, a minimum of 24 hours before the game. So obviously that tells you can change it up a bit. I think that's just latitude that UEFA give every club that's in their competitions. So, Phil, on to you. Do you think Angie's going to go strong?
pretty similar to what we played against Karabag, really. And obviously, Dragusin's suspended. What injuries were there? You broke up a little bit for me.
Odebert. Odebert should be about mid-October, so I'm wrong. It's Son, Richarlison, and Odebert. Although Son might be ready, but it's a question whether he wants to start him or not. And Udogie had a slight
right. Okay.
You could.
So we're pretty threadbare, really, up top.
Sorry, Phil. You got froze. I think he's froze.
Oh no, he's back.
Yeah, it keeps dipping in and out. Let me go back out and come back in again.
So if I disappear, I'll be fighting to get back.
2 seconds.
Well, let's sort of rephrase it. Do you think Ange will go as strong as he can, Brad? Strong as he can?
I was surprised. I was surprised last week that he had Vicario, so I'm presuming he's going to put Vicario in again. I think if you look at the forward line, if you look at the back line first, I have a feeling that he might play Romero and Davis on that area, because I think he might rest Van der Ven, because we saw on Sunday and other games how important Van der Ven is to us, especially against a team like Brighton on Sunday. Right back is a bit more problematical because Porro seems to be playing loads and loads of games. Didn't play against Qarabag, so I'd imagine he'll probably go with Gray again, which leaves the left back position a bit strange. It's again, we do wonder why Jed Spence was left out, but left back's a bit problematical. So you could argue that if Udogie's not fit or he wants to rest him, you could see maybe Davis at left back and bring in Van der Ven anyway. Or maybe there's a youngster, maybe Dorrington or something like that might get a game.
Yeah, Dorrington's been in my mind, but I've been thinking about this.
I don't think it's going to be quite a big atmosphere in Budapest, I think. So maybe not. I think the midfield will be, Bergvall probably. I think with Bentancur, who played excellent against Man United, so you want to rest him. And there's no talk of any ban at the moment, so you probably bring Basuma for that position. Another midfielder, I guess Sarr might be a chance there. Up top, I think he'll rest Sonny. I don't think Sonny will get a look in. I think he'll rather keep Sonny for Sunday, which means you're probably going to have Solanke, because at the moment there's no one else to play there. Probably the right hand side is going to be interesting in the wings, because Brendan Johnson's on a really good patch at the moment. So does he play him to keep the confidence going, or does he say no, I want to keep you for Sunday? And on the left, I hate to say this, but I think we're going to see Timo Werner start again.
So we got 10 men then.
I mean, he's one of the most frustrating players I watch, because he does everything right until the final bit. On Sunday he did okay up to that final moment, and the two chances he missed of cross that he managed to miss all of them. It's a confidence thing, but I think Ange seems to believe in him, and I think he'll play him hoping that he'll eventually do something, get the goal and get his confidence back. I mean, I would like to see Mikey Moore given a go, but I don't think that will happen. So yeah, the right hand side's going to be very interesting. He puts there. I mean, he might play Kulusevski, but Kulusevski's been absolutely brilliant for us this season, and I would not like to see him, get injured in a game in this game. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting lineup that we see on Thursday night.
So Phil, do you think Ange is going to start strong and give players a half, and then change as many as he can in the second half? And do you just think he'll go strong? Because we got the first win under our belts, which was good with 10 men, wasn't it, against Karabag?
Yeah. I think we should go strong, and then see how the game pans out. If we're up by 3 goals or 2 goals in the second half, we can sort of bring some players on then. But I wouldn't risk fielding, a lot of our youngsters in the starting lineup. I would definitely say 7 out of the 11. We need experience in there. Maybe Mikey Moore will get his chance. With our forwards being out, so we're a bit threadbare there. So But yeah, I think he'll field a strong lineup. We need to get the 3 points. Let's be honest, if we get the 3 points, we're in a good position. In games like Galatasaray and Roma, it sort of eases our chances of going through a lot more. So, but yeah, I think he'll field a strong squad.
Yeah, it's a momentum as well. Mark.
Yeah.
Sarr and Basuma, they need game time. Excuse my spelling on the word need.
Need game time.
Need.
That's neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll ignore that.
Did you see him starting with both of these guys? Because they need game time. When are you going to give them game time?
Yeah. Definitely.
Just throw that on that, on that.
Yeah, definitely.
On the reason I'm saying it, because on midfields, right, that we've had, we know the Kulu, Madison, and Bentancur 3 works. And we know from last season, the first 10 games, it was Sarr, Basuma, and Madison. So we know, and we've seen another combination of 3s as well. So we've seen 3 different blends of 3 that Ange can go with, because he's not going to be able to play that midfield that we played against Man United in every game we play. So you think these 2 could start?
I'd certainly, but then it's going to be either Basuma or Bentancur, isn't it? Now, nobody knows when Bentancur's ban's going to rear its head. So, but Bentancur was outstanding Sunday. So, I mean, if his band's round the corner, then I'm not being nasty or detrimental. Then just play him every game. If we know his band's only, because he's going to get banned, isn't he? Let's face it.
Does it include the Europa League games? Does it include every competition?
I think so.
If our FA ban him, they can't ban him if they don't have the power to ban him.
I think he can play in Europa, because I was watching Ali Gold earlier, and I think that's what he said that. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, all
look,
right then. Well, play Bents then. Play Bents, and then have Basuma for the league games if he's going to miss 6, 10, 12, however many it's going to be.
Adrian, do you or anyone here or anyone in chat know where you finish in the top 8 has any bearing on who you draw in the knockout stage?
Yeah, I asked this. I've asked this.
I would have thought that as the teams from 19 to 24 have got 2 matches to play in playoffs, that the teams that finish...
No, it's 9 to 24, isn't it?
9 to 24.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is it important to finish? Because we're all thinking...
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Brad. Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's going to be seedings. Well, I don't think the teams that finish 9 to 24, if they get ones that get through, are going to be given any preferential treatment because of
what I'm trying to say, the top 8. That's what I'm saying.
The top
8 will get into the knockout stage, so it doesn't matter whether we finish first or we finish 8. I imagine there might be something maybe to do with the top 4 might get the away leg. Second.
It works in the Champions League, doesn't it? When you finish. When you finish second, you obviously get the first place team, don't you? In the other groups, whatever. But yeah, I think there is something in that.
Yeah. So I think the point I'm trying to make is it worth taking chances by playing the young players and that sort of thing and leaving players out on the premise that wherever you finish in the top 8, because let's face it, we should finish in the top 8.
Well, if we don't do that, we just will give up.
Yeah, exactly. So if it's not incredibly. That we don't. I mean, if you had a top 8 that maybe the first position played the 8th position, well then yeah, you want to finish as high as you can. But if it's not that, does it mean what I'm trying to say? It means that we can take more chances in these games than maybe we could otherwise. That's.
I think at the end of the day, we want to win every game, don't we? Really,
of course,
every game that we play, we want to win every game. But if we are. In that top 8, say we are 8th in that group, I don't think that it's a problem, to be honest with you, because the teams that are in that competition, I think we are capable of beating on our day. Yeah. So, for me, it doesn't really matter where we finish, to be honest, from my point of view, anyway. Go on, David, sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, I'm just thinking. I don't know if you know in the chat. Let us know because I haven't looked that far forward yet.
Nobody knows how it works, do they?
Well, I would assume that, like before, I mean, like in the old champions, this is exactly the same model as the Champions League's being played. Exactly the same. So the 8 teams that do the best, accumulate the most points or score the most goals and concede the less goals, they're obviously going through. And then it may be that the team that's performed the best out of their mate plays the worst team in them playoffs. It might be like if you scored 30 goals, it's just an example, and you've conceded a few. I mean, unless it's just going to be a straight draw and it's just be like those top 8 that qualify. I mean, if there's 16 playing off, there's going to be 8 teams. So I just think you're one of the top 8. You're playing one of the 9 to 24 teams, but
Yeah.
So whether you're seeded to give you an even better advantage if you've done well, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, just following up what Phil was just saying, I think Ange always say I pick the team that I think will win the game. So I don't think where we're going to finish in the top 8 or whatever comes into his thinking anyway. So
I'm hoping we get Man United when we qualify. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? Or is the rule still in place? You can't play anyone from your own country till.
No, that's all gone now.
Is it? All right.
Is it? Not even until the same quarterfinal.
Before it used to be in rounds. No, I think they've got rid of that rule. If it definitely is in the first round anyway. Like
it used to be up to the quarterfinals, and
yeah.
Quarterfinals.
Because we couldn't. I don't think we could have got Man United in this draw for the first draw. But after this, I think it's just straight knockout. Like So moving on, we'll go for a full team. What we think at the end of predicted lineup. We just talked about.
I think Ronnie actually is probably right. I think that's what it might be.
Yeah, it's a good choice, Ronnie. Yeah. If you've got any questions in the chat, put them in. Phil, Slanky's got a start, hasn't
he? Yeah, he has to for me. We need to get that momentum going for him. He's got, is it 3-3 now? He's got, or something like that. Anyway, so he's in good form, and we need a top striker in form for us at the minute, because that's so important to have a focal point up front who's banging in the goals for us. So Solanke needs to start every game for us. Unless he's needs to be rested or injured, he needs to start for me. He's that important to the way we play. Pressing from the front. When he's pressing, everyone else presses at the same time, and he leads by example in that sense. So he has to start every game. He has to start every game for me.
Yeah, I just got this comment. Right. Okay. This is touching on the Bentancur thing. I don't mind discussing this.
Yeah, but I asked this on a previous show. Because it happened on international duty. Does it how the hell can he be banned for league games? If anything, punish his country.
For me, it would be more for the European games rather than the Premier League games. With it being FIFA, but I don't know.
I would imagine it'd be national games, when he goes off to represent
that as well. Yeah.
Because it happened on international duty. I said it was a few streams back when it first came out what he'd done, and I said, well, surely that won't affect Tottenham if he was on international duty.
Well, I haven't heard any appeal or anything from Bentancur yet, or from the club, whatever. No. I haven't heard anything like that yet.
No, but I find it strange because it was in the close season, during the summer break, and it was during the Copa America, and he was representing a South American country. I can't remember which country. Who?
Uruguay.
Right. He was representing Uruguay, and so why not punish Uruguay? Say he's not allowed to play for them for half a dozen games or something.
It wasn't.
The thing is, he's represented by our club as well.
But yes,
it wasn't during the Uruguayan competition. The way it works is our FA couldn't step in on Enzo Fernandez at Chelsea because that song they all sang, the Argentines they sung, was during a FIFA competition. So that meant it come under FIFA's jurisdiction. Now, our FA, this has been politically motivated anyway, and because it's been pushed, because our FA weren't proactive, they were reactive. They've dragged their feet before they've decided to act. So there's lots of levers being pushed in the background on this. Now, my only concern with this is if he gets punished too harshly. I mean, I think a suspended sentence would do with a benchmark sort of a review by whoever's the head of the tribunal, turn around and saying, look, in future, anything like this happens, we will be coming down very hard, right? Because I still go back, I know it was a long while ago, to March Bosnick's Nazi salute at the Paxton Road end at Spurs, right? And nothing happened at all. All right, social values have adjusted since then, moved on a bit, but I just want what's fair and what's equitable. And if he got a fine and a suspended sentence, you know, hanging over him, 6 games for a season or something, then if he was going to get a ban, I think no more than a red card ban, no more than 3 games. But that's just my way of thinking. Mind you, I love the player. So I'm biased because I'm a Spurs fan, obviously, you know, and I love the player. He's a fantastic player.
He's going to get more than that, Adrian. He's going to get more.
Well, this political. See, then you think this is political motivated, not inside and outside of football.
If he got, say, for argument's sake, 8 games, that's setting a heck of a precedent for precedent.
Oh,
for anything else that comes up.
Well, as long as that benchmark is stuck to, and not us being smashed.
Well, that's what it's all. That's what it's all about for me. If you know what he said was wrong, it was wrong.
Yeah.
You know. And he knows that himself. Do you know what I mean? And he's come out and he said it himself that he was wrong. But there has to be a big punishment for him for other players to do that in the future, and to sort of educate players to not sort of say that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? So there has to be an example set, really. You know, I like the player myself. I think he's our best midfielder we've got. But for me, he has to make of an example. You know, for what he said.
How many games has
Suarez has got enough money to have counsellors now, or to employ someone who's designated with that job to teach the young players from our under-9s upwards, you know, all the pitfalls with sexism, racism, you know, things like this, you know, so abusive behaviour, stuff like that, you know. We're going to go into like there was apparently some homophobic chanting.
Yeah, I heard about that.
We talk about that because we've got plenty to talk about. And the thing that got me about that, like, I don't get it in MMA fans' heads because, like, if you were going to do it and you were homophobic, fair enough. But then why are you mentioning Dominic Solanke's name in the song as well? I'm sure he must be.
It's something to do with Arteta as well.
And Arteta. I don't know the words to the song. I'm not sure. I want to know the words to the song. So, but no doubt they'll look into it. You've got cameras everywhere. At Spurs, they can pick your text out on your phone, right?
The Solanke song, the 65 mil.
Yeah, I heard this.
I didn't hear it.
I couldn't hear the first verse. The second verse is about him scoring.
And most of the podcasters, I don't think if they did pick it up, they edit it out. They edit it out of their videos because they didn't want to show that. Like,
I didn't. I mean, to be fair, all Dominic Solanke has to come out and say, look, you know, I want another song. I not know so many words, but just say, hey, can you think of something else? It's like the Sol Campbell song. I mean, you know, I don't particularly like Sol Campbell, but that was 20 years ago, and we're still singing about it.
It's boring.
And you've got to remember, a lot of these songs go back to the chants that were sort of going about in the 70s and 80s when football was a completely different. You know what I mean? Because let's face it, we've all been to games in the 70s and 80s, and you could shout and scream what you want.
Yeah. So basically, it was like 65 mil wasted, right? Dom Solanke scores again, basically, is what the song is about.
It's something about Arteta. I don't know what Arteta, how Arteta comes into it, but that's. I don't know. What's this?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That's a bit confusing to me.
Excuse my voice here. 60 million down the drain. Dom Solanke scores again. Well, that's not homophobic, is it?
No.
That's what I'm.
No. I don't know what song it was, but I heard it had something to do with Chelsea. What a lot of the Tottenham fans call it.
They sing the song about Brent boys, don't they? Which is,
Well, I wasn't going to say that.
I'm only just saying what they. I didn't hear them on Sunday, but I think that's got them into trouble before. And it again,
it was something to do with. It was something to do with Chelsea and that.
But that song there is all to do with just down to saying that everyone thinks he's a waste of money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We're saying 65 mil down the drain. Right. Dom Solanke's got what is wrong with that?
Well, I don't understand the song that they're questioning. I don't. That's questioning because all I've read and all I heard, it was to do with what a lot of Chelsea, what most of the Tottenham fans know the Chelsea fans as. I'm not saying the words, but
I'm only saying what they say.
Oh, they say kind things about us as well. So let's be fair.
Put it this way: I've been to Stamford Bridge. I've been to Stamford Bridge, and I stood on the shed. I only said the shelf, which is no, but I stood on the shed with a couple of my Chelsea mates to watch Tottenham and Chelsea and Tottenham. Sorry, and some of the songs I heard from there. Things about certain places in Poland and
I know.
Yes, and all that. Yes, I heard all them songs, and it was absolutely disgraceful.
The environment of football has definitely improved. There's still some of this goes on, but it's just not. But then again, if the FA wanted to step in, they could ban us from travelling to away games or something. But that hurts the club that might need the revenue. Not so much Man United, but a smaller club. Might like them £3,000, they're 30 quid, you know what I mean? So, for away tickets, I no doubt this story will run as more information comes to light. On Solanke, let's get back to the positive stuff. On Solanke, I was talking about Mark about it. Very, very impressed with his pressing, like you alluded to, Phil. I mean, if you notice during the game of Man United, he picks a centre back and he picks an angle between a centre back and a full back. And I said to Mark, I don't know if it's because Dillup might be not be as good on the ball as the other one. The guy with the foreign sounding name, Moreno, made a good save at the near post to stop Matey running in. I forget his name, Moreso, something like that. I forget his name. And he was coming between the two, so he could stop Mazraoui to stop the Dillup from passing. Because he'd be more comfortable on the right, passing out on right if you're right-footed, to stop him feeding Mazraoui. So now Dillup was having to pass across to Dalot on the left back. And our three midfielders were closing. They weren't pinch tight, but they were virtually sort of going man mark. So when they clear, unless you're really good with your first touch and ball, like coming over you, we were winning a lot of them balls and pressing them like mad. And it worked. They did get through, against us, but I didn't know. I've got to be honest. I watch a lot of players, and sometimes I spend hours watching through videos of them. But I'd watched virtually zilch one video, maybe two of Solanke before we signed him. And the same with Odegaard. I knew nothing about those two players. I knew a lot about Gray and Bergvall. I've been following Gray, for a while. And Bergvall, as soon as I first saw him, I liked the look of him. I just couldn't get enough of every bit of video I could get of him. I wanted to watch, So, but Solanke's looking. I thought 65 mil was too much. I thought probably about 40, 45, like we all did. But if he keeps going like this, and the price tag's nothing to do with him, well worth the money.
That price tag didn't surprise me anyway. To be honest with you, I think for an English striker that scored 19 goals, albeit before that he wasn't prolific, but that's the money you have to pay for, English tax players in the Premier League. And at the end of the day, 65 mil at the moment is looking like a good buy. So he brings a lot. He brings a lot to the team, not just his goals, but his pressing is probably the best in the league. But
well, he's sort of he puts some pay to this myth that Ange's a yes man, blah blah blah. He gets all these club signings. Well, he obviously wanted him, and he suits Ange's system perfectly. And you look at a lot of Ange's signings; they suit the system. Van der Ven, Vicario, So this myth that he's a yes man and he's taking players that the club are giving him is it's a myth. It's rubbish.
Yeah.
Solanke looks very. His hold up play is perfect for the way that we want to play, and he's great for those poaching. Look at his 3 goals; they're all goal poaching goals. We play
with Van der Ven as well. The way he brings out the ball and the way he plays suits the way we play. If Conte was here, for instance, I don't think you'd see Van der Ven doing what he's doing now. In terms of him bringing the ball out.
He'd be shot if he went over the halfway line.
Yeah, he would have stopped at the halfway line, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he'd be shot. He'd be shot if he went over than that.
I think that's sort of a tactic that's Ange's sort of set out for Van der Ven to do. Do you know what I mean? Use his pace, use it to our advantage. Do you know what I mean? And he's done it twice now in games.
Yeah.
Where he's pulling up trumps. Do you know what I mean? So long may it continue.
Staying with Solanke, Mark. I mean, I wasn't quite sure myself on the 3rd goal. I mean, he's proven to be a fox in a box. Whether when the good cross by Bergvall, which Sarr
that was his first touch as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, which Sarr gets his head on. Now, we used to do these flick-ons. It used to be a traditional Spurs tactic to have someone flick the ball on from the near post because it just causes chaos amongst defenders.
Yeah.
Alan Gilzine.
Gilzine was the we did it during we did it during that end as well. Do you think that was off the training ground? Was that a Sarr header on goal, or was it like a deliberately flick on tactic?
It's hard to say, isn't it? But at the end of the day, it worked. At the end of and going back to Solanke, I don't want to diss his price or anything, but 65 million don't get you a lot these days. You know what I mean? So 65 million, especially for an English striker, because like 65, if you even go back 5 years, 65 million it would have got you the world's best, but with the way the money's going in football now, 65 million don't get you a lot, especially when there's transfers going for 100 million and what's the record now? Is it 120, 150?
Yeah, it's
you know what I mean.
Everyone goes on about, we don't buy 100 million pound players. Well, there's only been about 4, haven't there, in the Premier League?
Yeah. Grealish was the first, wasn't
he? Yeah, Rice.
Yeah, Rice.
Caicedo as well. Caicedo was 105 million.
Yeah, so it's not something happened.
Fernandes wasn't cheap either, was he?
No.
And neither was Mudryk.
No.
Yeah, it was about 70, obviously.
But 65 million, that's sort of, you're not going to get a world beater. You if they were still about this time, you're certainly not going to get trying to think of someone who was really good. You're not going to get a Glenn Hoddle for 65 million.
Can you imagine what he'd be worth?
He'd be worth $1 billion. He'd be worth $1 billion at least.
I mean, he was 19. I know we got off subject. He was 19 when he made his England debut. So it's
yeah. And I'll tell you what, if he was any other nationality than English, he'd have had darn sight more caps than he got.
Yeah.
Because it was only it was only because at the time the English had their sort of midfielders that they wanted.
Yeah.
A player like Glenn Hoddle just didn't fit in.
Didn't tackle, did he?
No, he wasn't hard as nails. He didn't come off with 2 teeth missing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I mean, he wasn't a typical English midfielder.
Going back to Solanke, I think that, and people might think, it's a simple thing to do. His 3 goals have been from anticipating something that's going to happen. The 2 saves from the goalkeeper came out, and the one against Man United, he anticipated that ball's coming over. It could drop there. I'm going to be there if it drops there, and it was.
That's what I want my striker to do. Is to be in the box at all times, and the way we play with our wingers, when we get the ball into the box, for wide areas, I think he's perfect for that. Absolutely perfect. And I hear fans saying, "Yeah, he's scored a tap in and stuff like that," but that's what strikers do. That's you know what I mean. They get into the box so they anticipate, like you said, Brad, and Van Nistelrooy was perfect at that for Man United. Do you know what I mean? How many goals did he score for Man United? Do you know what I mean? So I just think, keep getting into them positions.
Yeah.
How many goals did Lineker score outside the box? One, I think. One, I think, when he was at Tottenham.
Brad, put this question to you. Who's this guy? He plays for us.
Sonny, isn't it?
No.
What now? Plays for us now?
Yeah, plays for us now.
Gee. It's not Ben Davies.
If you leave it up for a while, and anyone who's in the chat, have a guess who this is, because I couldn't believe it.
I'm trying to think of a player that's had that many appearances, and Ben Davies obviously comes to mind, but he certainly had scored 152 goals. For us now.
I'll give you a clue. The 425 appearances isn't for us. Not all of them.
Right. Okay.
That's what. Right. Okay.
This is his fourth club, I think.
Gee.
Plays for us.
It's not Werner, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, jeez.
As soon as I come,
even more frustrating.
As soon as I come in the back room, Adrian put that slide up and he said, "Who's this?" And I was like, 420. I was trying to think who played that many games.
That was all for Leipzig. That was most of that.
Yeah,
he got 13 of those goals, I think, for Leipzig.
Yeah.
Then he got a move. It's actually strike rate at Chelsea was about 1 in 4. This is like 1 in 3. This is Sonny-esque strike rate, right? This is Son, which for a winger is a brilliant strike rate because 1 in 4 was always considered good, so over a season, So, So, and then before us, he went back to Germany and he was poor. His strike rate really dropped off. So he was at Leipzig, goes to Chelsea for big money. Strike rate was about 1 in 4, but obviously his all-round game didn't suit Chelsea, so he got shot of him, went back to Germany. His stats were poor then. Now he's come to us, and he's got, in 20 games, he's got, I think, 3 goals and 2 assists, or 1 assist.
I do seem to remember him missing a lot for Chelsea as well.
Yeah. This is, I think they got rid of him on the misses, not on my scoreline. Yeah.
But I think it must be a confidence thing, As I say, I was watching Ellie Gold.
He's not a natural finisher, is he? He's not a natural finisher.
That's not bad if he's not a natural finisher.
No.
I'm just thinking that I was watching Ali Gold earlier tonight, and anyone else that watched him would have heard him say that it's just a confidence thing. You just need to get some sort of psychologist in there and say, look, this is what you used to do. Look, you can do it, sort of thing.
Yeah, but then if you can only score if you're a confidence player, I don't like that. I mean, I've said it on quite a few podcasts that we need to be scoring around about 90 goals, right? We've never replaced 4 goal scorers like the Desk, Dele, Eriksson, Son and Kane.
Oh, no, yeah.
I mean, Dele had 16 or 17 before we beat Arsenal 2-0 at the lane in like 82, I think it was, something like that. No, it was later than that.
He was quicker at 50 goals, wasn't he? Quicker at 50 goals than Lampard and Gerrard, wasn't he?
Yeah, and so my only argument, my critique of Johnson, who's come out the traps flying this season, was if we're ever going to win a league or look for a league title, which is what we should be looking to do.
Oh yeah,
we've got to have wingers that can score goals, and I don't want. Look, back in the day, it was accepted. Our expectations were low, even when we had Jalota and Waddle, Aaron Lennon, and all that. We might win a cup. We weren't really that. When it come to European football, it was sort of a bridge too far that fans accepted. It was Poch and Redknapp and Joel raised the bar.
In all fairness, though, Adrian, when we had all them like Ginola players and that, we had 1 or 2 that were spectacular, but the rest,
we did.
The rest of the team was pants.
And And like you didn't mind them because you'd go and watch a player because you know, like 94, 95 when he wins the Player of the Year and the Sports Writers of the Year award, like you'd go to watch him play.
I went a lot that year.
It was unreal, but it's changed now. Our expectations have been raised, and rightly so, and so they should be raised. As I say,
I think the problem with Tottenham and challenging for titles and that is the fact that we're now playing in a Premier League that's got 3 really, really top teams. You know that I don't think anyone's going to. Destiny 5 was saying we can go for third. I don't think anyone's going to get near Man City, Arsenal, and Liverpool this season for the top 3. But when we did have title challenges, and I keep thinking it's 2 seconds, but it's actually a third of a second. There weren't that many teams. Like your Man City's have dropped off.
Yeah,
you know, and I
Chelsea had dropped off.
And I think that's the problem we had. And it's going to be really difficult for Tottenham to challenge for a title. I'm not saying we can't at some stage, but at the moment with these 2 teams, I think football goes in cycles, and you're sort of relying on maybe Man City might have a bit of a drop and Guardiola might leave, and so it might happen, sort of thing. But it's going to be very, very difficult to I'm not look top 4. If we play like we played in our last 3 games, then top 4 is definitely on, without a doubt.
I'll be honest, though. I'll be honest. Top 4 means absolutely nothing to me.
Well, the only form, would it surprise you in the chat to know that? I mean, Arsenal's defence haven't been as good as our last year so far yet. Would it surprise you to know that both teams have got exactly the same goal difference, goals for, goals against difference?
Yeah, I'm not saying it's. I'm not saying that they're.
And what flatters ours a bit is 4-0 against Everton, obviously, and things like that. But like we've got the same. I mean, it's hard. I mean, our start has been. I mean, like we've started a bit, but we haven't. I know that sections of fan base will tear into one because they're still not sure about the system or whatever. I'm not sure about the system, but I mean, like than I was. But I'll judge it at the end of the season. But we've looked good. We've looked good, and to me, we've looked good without what I would consider. I think we've solved problems in midfield. I mean, I know Brentford, you'll get the more physical, what we call lesser team without being disrespectful to them that will come. They're going to pack the midfield or the low block. So they might do a Brentford and have 50% possession, which actually is a bit better when teams come onto us because we get more space to play through the lines like, well, we do, you know. But I just, my thing with the midfield, like I said, I've seen different combinations of our midfield. It was very noticeable that he went Basuma, Sarr, and Maddison in a couple of those pre-season friendlies, and that clicked with me because I thought that's what we did in the first 10 games last season. So he's hoping those 3 are going to reproduce that sort of form. So we know that works. So I always kept saying we weren't aggressive enough. We can't dig in there. And we lack bite. Our players are too passive, right? And I meant that last year as well. But this season, with Decky being a revelation, probably the best midfielder in the country on form, right? We have so much power and energy, right? And with Maddison just dropping that just a little bit deep, not picking a ball up off the back foot, he's just finding more space. And they're struggling to stop him. And that was a desperate tackle. On Sunday against him. And although he's been let go today, I said to Mark about it on that. All right, fair enough, doesn't really affect me. But they said, in slow motion, it didn't look as bad. Well, the referee don't see it in slow motion. He only sees it in normal play time, right? And he raised his foot and he could have dropped his foot. So to me, that's still a red. So, I don't care. He's got
well, going back to that, put it this way, right? The ref obviously gave a red card. None of us are complaining, or what? You know what I mean? But the football world are not complaining. But if he'd give a yellow, then no one would have complained about that either. I mean, it was one of those. It was, if there was such a thing, it was sort of an orange.
I'd be complaining if I was a United fan. I know
that. Yeah. Well,
I didn't think it was a red. To be honest with you, it was definitely a yellow card. It was cynical, but for me, like the challenge wasn't like it wasn't impactful. Like it wasn't going straight through him. Do you know what I mean? At pace.
I think
All it was like a flick up, and he caught him. I think it was on the shin. I think maybe
it looked
it was high,
like,
but it wasn't gonna danger the player at all. With the way he was sliding in.
It certainly wasn't a leg breaker.
No.
It was a leg breaker.
I think taking my Spurs hat off, I think it was a yellow.
It was.
I mean, you guys at the top there, Mark, Brad, and Adrian. You'd know, like Vinnie Jones, back in the day when he. Do you know what I mean? Them sort of challenges, compared to what we saw, Fernandez. That's night and day.
But hey, it's not our problem, is it? So, and to be fair, we'd totally outplayed them with 11 against 11 anyway. So it wasn't exactly a turning point. But going back to Mark,
I know we're getting into that.
Go back to what you're saying, Mark, about top four. I actually this season. Now, last season to me was a free pass for Ange Postecoglou. This season, I want to win something. I'm not that worried about the league.
Yeah,
I mean, I obviously don't want to finish bottom, be relegated. I mean, daft like that. But I'm not that overly concerned. I actually want to get this monkey off our back and win something. And I think
give me 17th in the Europa League. I'd take that all day, every day.
Yep. I think I would as well, definitely.
Or 17th in the FA Cup, because it's been 33 or 34 years it'll be.
Yeah.
When the final comes around.
We used to love it, finish on top of Arsenal for 5 seasons on the potch and say, they won 2 FA Cups in that time.
Exactly.
Welcome, Alan. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We're doing a preview and we're having a general conversation about where we are as a team. So this is what we were discussing. Vernon keep his place.
No, I don't think so. I think it.
And this is his stats.
Yeah.
A lot of that is skewed though by Leverkusen.
Right. I guess I would ask, what has he done for me lately? I think it highlight. In fact, I think against the Manchester United game, it may have been a mixed blessing that he started, because the way we played, it highlighted his drawbacks, his ineptability to finish, because he was gifted 2, almost 3 golden opportunities to score, and he didn't. And truly, we need him to score at least 2 of those. They were breakaways, and he put them both right into Onana, which it's, for a person with his pedigree, you would expect better. I would expect better of people in lower leagues. I would definitely expect that Werner earn his pay. I mean, it doesn't get easier than that, as far as I know. For a winger, for a forward, that's what they want, right? The breaks, and he fouled them up again. So I think what was good about him playing was that it highlighted we can probably swap in Mikey Moore, and if anything, it can't get any worse than Werner. So I think Mikey Moore would bring some energy to the position. I think Mikey Moore put a shot on goal that almost made it in. So
good effort,
I think he would do pretty well. And it's a golden opportunity as long as Son is. I would say even if Son was healthy again, maybe rest him one more game, because we have a couple of easy games coming up other than our Europa.
Easy? Spurs don't do easy, Alan. Spurs don't been doing it easy since 1882, mate.
Brighton and West Ham won't be easy, huh?
Easy?
I would say West Ham, and don't we have Southampton after that?
We've got Villa, haven't we? I think
international. No, we've got Ferencvaros Thursday, Brighton away Sunday. Then there's an international break from the 6th to the 14th of October.
Thank God for that. We're looking forward to the international break.
I'm going to stay with you. I'm going to stay with you, Al, because I want to talk about a player I didn't even want to come to the club, and I was highly critical of, and I've been highly critical of, and I happen to think I thought he had his best game in a Spurs shirt for this club, and that's Brennan Johnson.
Absolutely. Yeah, Brennan Johnson. He
Go up a comment, Adrian. Just to my comment. No. That's the one.
Mm-hmm.
Johnson Defence League.
I wonder what that meant.
I will explain this when it comes round to me.
Yeah, Johnson did so well, and I couldn't be happier for him. His
father in the stand, that was great.
And, right, well, you can see how proud his father was in the stands.
Yeah.
They kept, bringing the camera back to him. It's nice to see. Everyone likes that kind of story, he was been down. His mentality's been questioned. He was personally attacked. A lot of the fans had written him off as a bad Ange signing. And I hope it's not a purple patch. I think 4-4 probably is showing some, and an assist. I don't even know how many assists he's got. I know he had one on the other day. But I do think that he's starting to grow into the position. He's obviously seen, and the rest of the team should see, if you buy into the way Ange plays, this is how we can play. And it was so cool to watch. I mean, Manchester United were just as equally as poor as we were amazing. And the scoreline flattered Manchester United. It could have been 5. It should have been at least 5, because Werner should have put away the 2 that he got. But it could have been more. Really quickly so Brennan Johnson is, I'm so happy, a redemption story kind of, and I hope it continues, because he's very fast. He was always fast. His passes are getting better, and the shooting confidence is obviously there. He was smiling when he received the ball from VDV. They show the replay. He just knew he was going to score.
I totally agree with everything you said, Al. But can I just play devil's advocate here?
Sure.
We've given a chance to Johnson, and he's had a lot of flack, and he's come through it. I've got two things to say. The first thing is, should we not be giving that chance to Werner as well, whilst we've got injuries at the moment? And the other thing is that Werner missed 2 gettable chances, and you could argue he should get at least one of them. But then Maddison was through on goal and couldn't get it past Anuna. And then also Solanke was through on goal and couldn't score. So, it does happen. But I think I think also the other point with Mikey Moore getting the start, I think, and I get it. I get why everyone wants to see him play. And I was so thrilled when he came on. And when he had that ball and he's going to shoot, I'm going, come on, Mikey. And, that's, what a wonderful moment that would have been if that had gone in. But we seem to forget he's only just turned 17. He was in the first team squad last season. So next season he'll be starting his 3rd season with Tottenham in the Premier League, and he will only have just turned 18. So this guy's I think is going to be really, really good, and we just got to give him a chance and stop. Oh, we got to play him. No, we're being careful with him. And I think that in a way that's a good thing, but that's just me being devil's advocate there.
Can I quickly reply?
Cool.
So as far as Werner, I don't know that we owe him the same, because he's not under he's a loan. We have him on loan. So we never felt confident enough to give him a contract. So I think, whereas Mikey Moore, we do have a contract with Mikey Moore. And there are very talented young players. Lamine, was it Yamal at Barcelona? Who's very young, and is a baller.
Yeah.
And, no one says, usually they don't follow up with, but he's young. They just say he's a baller, you know.
And to back up your argument, Wayne Rooney was absolutely amazing. I don't think we forget how brilliant he was when he first came in.
16.
He was scoring, he was 18
16 he was.
He was 18.
Playing brilliantly in European championships, you know.
And
so,
Mikey Moore was desired by some of the biggest teams. And we lucked out getting him.
Rooney was 16 when he scored against Arsenal.
That wonder goal, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think we can reward and show a little bit of risk tolerance in having him back up Son, even in the short term, just to give him that opportunity. Because sometimes I think confidence breeds confidence, and I guess if we show confidence in him to give him the opportunity to rise to the occasion, he may very well rise to the occasion. And I guess the backdrop of that is I don't see him doing worse than Werner did. Werner really didn't do much in my eyes. He did track back, but I think kind of highlighting what he did well feels like I'm highlighting something that any winger should be doing anyway. Like he didn't do anything standout for me to recognize it.
I sort of forgot actually that when we got that Mikey Moore was on the pitch when we got the third goal, and I was watching it back where he's joining in the celebrations and getting all that to the crowd and that sort of thing. And I'm trying to think what I was doing when I was 17. You know?
Right.
Can you imagine being
Definitely
17 and in front of your own fans at Old Trafford with all these brilliant footballers and you're celebrating the goal? And wow.
I was drinking cider.
Bringing it back to Werner and I guess to Brennan Johnson, because I don't want to get off topic. Brennan Johnson. I think he did great. I really do. He's a player that seems to have a higher ceiling than we all recognized. And I think if he can keep the form that he's got, even if he doesn't score as many, but he has a bunch of assists, I think we have a real star on our hands. He just has to keep doing it. I cheer him, but I'm cheering him on to do it. I really want to see him continue. I'd love a 5 for 5.
Oh, it'd be brilliant.
Yeah. Right. Now, where my comment was, like JDL. Now, if you go back maybe last year, I believe, on Bobby K's show that some of us have been on, we were always discussing about, and I was like, he's going to be good. He's going to be good. He's going to be good. And then he wasn't. And I started dissing him. Right now, in Morning Brews this morning, big up Tottenham on tour, I'm always in their chat, and in there they got KDL, which is the Kulu Defence League, right? And that is Phil P, and that is Phil P, right? Phil P started the KDL, so this morning I invented the JDL, Johnson Defence League, because he's back in my good books at the moment. Because I used to rave about him.
A simple point. Apparently, Cooley doesn't like being called Cooley because I think it's Italian for backside or something. So,
was it?
Mr. K.
Trent should have sung that then as well.
Like the Decky Defence League. That's what the DDL.
Right on to the preview. Back to the preview. Now, in case people have concerns about Solanke and wanting to keep him for Sunday's away match at Brighton, what about this guy?
Is he fit? Is he fit now?
He's on the bench.
He did have a slight hamstring. He has played for the under-21s. Last season he got 23 league goals in 22 games. He got about 30-plus goals. I think it was for the cup competitions as well. They're all right. And I watched him. And when they say he's the closest thing to Harry Kane, he is. He's got his simmering style anyway. I mean, it's a bold statement to make saying that he's like Harry Kane. But it's very telling that he was kept as part of the B list this year, and Ilo Juveliz goes off on loan. And Dane Scarlett, who I rate, by the way, and loads of fans don't, but I question how many of them actually seen Scarlett play, because before this crop of youngsters come in and I was watching Scarlett play, when you get 22 players on a field and one of them stands out, and he did score a great goal when we beat Shakhtar the next 5-1 at the Lane, and Kane got them 4 goals before he left us, and he done that turn and swivel. It was any striker would have been proud of that goal. And so, I mean, I like Scarlett. We'll see what happens. Not quite happening for him at Oxford at the moment, but every time he goes away with England, he scores. You know, so you're definitely going to have a good career. But Lancashire, guys, could he even start? Alan, you just come on. We'll have you. Let's say some more.
Yeah, Will Lancashire. I don't think he needs to start, but I do think maybe as the title here says, come on in the second half. I think as long as we are not losing, hopefully 1 or 2, 1 up, 2 up at the first half. We're talking about against Ferencvaros, right?
Yeah.
The Hungarian team. Yeah. I do think that Solanke should start. Just like Harry Kane used to start, it felt like Harry Kane played almost every game. It just felt like that. But I think they could start him. But I think in the second half, Will Lancashire can come on. He's also a big guy, and he is an amazing goal scorer. I think first of all, he's a lefty, not a righty, right? So he kicks with his left, I think. Am I wrong? Do I remember?
I've got to think about that now, and I should know.
So Adrian, you're the
expert. He's right-footed.
He's right-footed? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I for some reason thought he was left-footed. Well, so I couldn't even tell.
Hopefully both. Hopefully both.
Yeah.
He does use his left foot. He can use his left foot, but primarily he uses his right foot.
Mm-hmm. I do think that he is a fantastic player. I look forward to seeing his progress with us, because I think, in the younger leagues, he looks like a young Harry Kane the way he's playing. So I think he could be a fine backup.
Oh, Kulu is buttocks.
Yeah, I thought it did. Yeah. I think they asked him in an interview once, and he said he doesn't like being called Kulu.
Phil, you seen much of Lancashire?
Only when he's come on for us, in pre-season and whatnot, and played some games in pre-season. But I saw a couple of games last season in the under-21s. From what I see, he's a tidy footballer, and he's a great finisher. From what I've seen, so he's still young, like some of our other players in the squad. They're raw, but I'd like to see him get a chance, like against Ferencvaros, definitely in the second half. But you have to start Solanke, as I was saying earlier. You have to start him. But they will get their chance. They will get the side Bergvall as well. Bergvall and Gray, they'll get their chances. Bergvall unfortunately come off the other night, but he will get his chance. He will get his chance like the others will.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I think with Solanke, I think at the moment he's got to start games because he's the only striker we've got. But I think it will get to a stage where we have to think, because he puts in such a lot of work and is so, vital to the way we play that there will come a point where we think, well, we need to rest him a bit. And so I'm hoping that maybe on Thursday he starts. We have a good first half. We're looking good, and then you can bring Lancashire on for half an hour.
Could I just add to that as well, Brad? That Solanke really needs to. He's only just come to the club. Yeah, he's played 3-4 games, so he needs to get an understanding with our wingers or our front players, even in midfield. He needs to get that understanding and play more games for us. For him to be a better player in our team.
Yeah, he's had no pre-season.
Can I say, big up Peter. He's home now. He's a paramedic in Australia. So thank you. I'm sure they appreciate everything you do out there. Big up the NHS in this country, obviously.
Yep.
But I'm sure they appreciate everything you do down there. And he works nights. So it's in the chat somewhere. He says
And
he's
he's also gives away loads of membership.
Yeah.
We ain't doing them yet. We might do it at the end of the first year. Even if we can do it beforehand, we probably won't. Brad, come to you. Now's the time to give this kid a half, isn't it? He's got to have a half.
Yeah, look, I'd love to see him play. I really would.
He is fantastic.
I think he certainly, when I've seen him in pre-season friendlies and when he's come on, he looks very confident. And I went to the QPR friendly, and that's the only first time I've seen him close up. He's pretty well built for a 16, 17-year-old. He's
5'11", I think.
Yeah, he's pretty strong. In the same way, you could argue that Wayne Rooney was pretty strong at that age as well. So yeah, I'd like to see him start. I still think what I said earlier about everyone. Yeah, play him. But yeah, I'd like to see him. If Son's not fit, I'd even like to see him start against Brighton. If Son's not fit on that left, I've got a feeling that Werner's going to start against Ferencvaros. But how many more games can he have where he's not contributing before Mikey Moore gets his chance? The only thing I will say, I think, didn't he play more on the right-hand side in the friendlies for Tottenham?
He did. And for the under-21s, he played mainly on the left, even though he's right-footed. Yeah. But he's so well-balanced. He can use both feet. I mean, he could play anywhere across the front three, anywhere in midfield, and he could be even the ball-carrying Moussa Dembele. I think he's that good.
Yeah.
I'll put his under-21
the shot had against Man United, and I think I've seen a few goals he scored for England under 18s, wasn't it? In the
his stats are mental.
Basically, we're saying ABW, anybody but Werner.
But actually, if I go back to what I said earlier about, I said maybe coming on in Budapest against a very sort of aggressive crowd and that. Well, he's actually played 20-30 minutes at Old Trafford, hasn't he? So. So that didn't faze him much. So yeah, so what I said earlier about maybe it might not be the right time, I take that back now because he's come on at Old Trafford.
Phil, there is a question of fitness when you're 17 to go 90 minutes at 100 miles an hour. I mean, people say start a player, but is it fair if you run out of gas because he's just his body as well? I mean, look, he looks. A lot of the young players we brought in, they're all units. Decky's only 24. You doggy, you look at him, you look at Saar. They're all units. These aren't these short little diminutive players you used to see years ago, tricky on the ball that got kicked into the stand. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I mean, as he fully developed, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Physically, as he fully developed, and this is what we forget sometimes. I mean, with players that are like 16, 17, 18 that are coming through, you need to think of their health as well. Do you know what I mean? With playing how many games? Do you know what I mean? So he needs to be bedding slowly for me. He can't be rushed into the starting 11. And I think we've been a little bit harsh on Werner in my opinion. I'm not saying since he's been at the club. I'm saying when he played against United, I thought he didn't have a bad game. I thought he was all right. He got into positions. He made good runs. He didn't really lose the ball that much, in my opinion. And I thought just his finishing. If he'd scored them 2 goals, we wouldn't be talking like we are now.
On that, Phil,
that was the crux of the matter. That was the crux of the matter.
20 games last season, he scored about 2 goals or 3. That's 1 in 10, right? On that, I'm not saying he's not a bad footballer. You don't become a German international if you're a bad footballer or whatever. And I'm not saying he couldn't do a good job at another club, but he can't. He's not a natural finisher, and at his age, you can forgive Johnson for not being as good as you might think he is because he's got potential and a higher ceiling. Werner's 28 now. He hasn't got a higher ceiling. And to me, it might sound ruthless. We're not going to progress with a player like Werner in the team. He'll still do a job for us, a squad job.
Adrian, but what I'm saying is that, in these types of games, like Werner is our squad player. He's with us this season, right? Angie's going to use him in certain games. He is. That's just the way it is. We have to accept that as fans, right? The best we'll get out of Werner is if we play him in games like this and get his confidence up. You know, if he can sort of like, you know, get a goal or two and build his confidence. You know, because if he does get his chance and God forbid we get injuries or whatever, and he has to play, he needs to have that match fitness to be ready to go into the starting 11. And in games like Ferencvaros, I think he needs to sort of play in that game.
I think he'll start. And bear in mind that the international break is from the 6th to the 14th, and halfway through the international break, Odebert should be fit.
I mean, Moore will get his chance in the second. I think we'll beat him comfortably. I think we're in good form. The confidence is up, and I think we'll beat him comfortably. Like I said against United, I thought United. I didn't fear United coming into that game. I thought we'd beat them comfortably, and we did. And I think, you know, the kids will get their chance in this game coming up. They will. You know, but it has to be if we're comfortable in the game. If we're 2 or 3-0 up.
Let's talk about the game then, because I think our biggest concern is not really who we can play up front and necessarily in midfield. It is the back four. I think Vicario will play because goalkeepers really go in the red zone, do they? They don't do that much running. So
I don't know what Vicario did the other day, though, didn't he?
Yeah, I did mention earlier we have to name our B list 24 hours before kickoff. So tomorrow we have to know it. So it looks like we name our B list every day throughout the competition of the young academy players, the ones that are going into that are added to the squad. And I've been thinking about Alfie Dorrington because he's a quick centre back and he can pass a ball as well, right? And I'm just wondering because how do you see our back four? How do you see our back four for Thursday? Who do you think will play where? Ragason's red carded, he can't play.
The back four, let's see.
Let me put some squad players up. Hang on, let me put this up. Spence is ineligible. That's why he's got the star by his name.
He's ineligible.
And I didn't have room to put Dorrington on this list because you only allowed 200 letters, you know.
Probably maybe Dragushin and maybe Romero because BDV just played.
Jackson's is suspended, isn't he?
Oh, that's right. Dragushin is suspended.
Yeah, he's red.
That's right, for the red card. So it's got to be.
Sonny's. Well, we don't know if Sonny's injured or not. It's like I think he'd be pushed. He'd play, but I think you'd want to hold him back for Sunday.
It's got to be our normal four: Poro, Romero, VDV, and Destiny.
No, I think you'll probably see Archie Gray slip into right back again, even though it's not his natural position. But
I think he will.
Yeah.
No Davis, guys. Anyone think Davis is going to play at left back and the rest of you doggy? It's like,
I think we're going to approach this similar to how we approached Karabakh. Karabakh seemed to be at the same place as Ferencvaros. Ferencvaros.
Not an easy one.
I'm not even attempting to say it. I'm just going to play the team from Hungary.
You can tell how often I say that name. So, but I think we're going to line up like Karabakh because the Ferencvaros is the Man City of their league, right? They're big winners. They're a storied team. They're number one right now. And that's kind of how Karabakh was, right? A dominant force, no?
Yeah, they're top of their league. They've won 6 in 6. And they're the most popular team in Hungary, in Budapest, the capital. But they play a 4-2-3-1, and they will play a low block against us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For me, it's going to be similar to Karabakh. I think Gray will start right back. I think Ange thinks he's suited there with him inverting. I think it's going to be Romero, VDV, and Davis. That's the back four for me.
I wouldn't even be surprised if Davis come inside and Mickey was on the left back.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think it all depends on Udogie's fitness.
Yeah.
I think if Udogie is fit and he decides to play him, then I think you'll see Davis and Romero as the two centre backs. I think Gray, because Spence isn't in the squad, I think Gray is a shoe-in for right back.
I think because Dragons has got to get used to playing with VDV and Romero, and the same with Davis for the season as well. I think the midfield pairing will be, I think it will be Dragerson and Davis, and I think Udogie will play. And the reason I think Udogie will play is because this game is not going to tire Udogie out. He's a tank. He'll be all right for Sunday. And then after Sunday, if he isn't away with Italy, I don't know if he is. I don't know whether the squads have been named or anything like this. So I think we can play him because it's 2 games. And in theory, some of the players will be getting a rest. I don't know who's going to be away on international duty as of yet, But,
I think Udogie, it's not his physical fitness; it's his match fitness. And I think maybe you do play Udogie in this game, and you play you give VDV a rest. You give VDV a rest for the next game, and play Romero and Davis at the back.
Romero and Davis.
The other thing would be, and a big shout out actually to Spence. I think he's done very well when he's come on. I think the thing about Spence is that you can play him on Sunday against Brighton. So if you did start with Udogie and he wasn't fit for Brighton, you've got the option with Spence to come on at left back. Where in this match you haven't got that option with Spence.
I think Ange may be regretting that now, not selecting Spence. Selecting Spence for the Europa League, especially with his performances.
Well, we got 4 or 5 bloody goalies in there.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
He'll want to save some money, so he won't take all 4 away because it's 2 airfares you can save if you leave 2 at home. You know what I mean? You can't. I mean, let's be fair. So, and he didn't last time. I mean, you got to be really unlucky to have injuries to 3 goalkeepers, but no doubt it would happen to us. If it's going to happen to anyone, it would happen to us.
Yeah, let's clip that, everybody.
Clip that,
Yeah, then we see Austin in goal.
It was a weird. I mean, going back to Spence, it was a weird one, especially with the fact that Austin's now signed a 5-year contract. That I thought Forster would be on his way, but apparently not.
Well, he is at the end of the season, so Austin will be number 2 then.
Right.
And that's without Josh Greeley and Gunter, and they're both very capable goalkeepers. Yeah. I've watched them; they're good.
I did when I saw Whiteman a few years ago. I did actually think he was pretty good as well. So we've got a couple of decent goalkeepers there. And
Romero has to start, right? He's got to be. He's the only one we've got there. So then it's sort of like.
Could you see the difference in him Sunday when he was captain?
Yeah,
he was a better captain.
Yeah, without a shadow of doubt.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, though, the way Decky's been playing this season, he's captain for Sweden. You never know. I mean, he certainly leads by example.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So
he'll be in that leadership group. Definitely.
From no leaders on the field, they might start growing leadership branches.
Well, that's what you want. No, you want 11 captains, don't you? Really?
Yeah.
So if it's going to be, and because Romero and Davis have played before, there's a bit of understanding there, isn't there? Yeah. So right back, well, Porro or Gray, it's got to be one or the other, isn't it? Really,
it'll be Gray.
I think you guys are right.
Yeah, and Udogie starts. Yeah, that's a decent back four. Let's talk about the midfield because we have so many combinations. I mean, like if any of you do, we got 7 midfielders, including Decky in that bunch now. Now I know I used to do the old Heinz 57 bet. It was 15 doubles, 20 trebles. So just on 6 midfielders, you'd have 20 combinations, different combinations you could put of 3 of a midfield 3 you could put out there. But I'm just thinking like Basuma, look, Sarr and Basuma, Alan, game time.
I think.
Yeah, I think because you've got to get, as you're saying, you need a midfield that plays together that can come in at any time. And I think with Basuma, I think Basuma and Bentancur are interchangeable, and I think Bentancur plays so well against Man United, and the ban hasn't come in or nothing's happened yet. So I think Bentancur will be odds on to start against Brighton. So obviously you replace him with Basuma, Sarr, and the other guy.
Bergvall.
Bergvall,
Can I just say one that's definitely going to be in there is Bergvall. After what happened.
Oh yeah.
Like, when he got took off. He's definitely going to play.
Nice corner for the goal.
Great corner. And
he's
great
not
I had to laugh at Eriksen's corners for Man United. It's like nothing's changed. It's his last couple of years at Tottenham.
He took two, didn't he? He took two, and they didn't clear the first man. Yeah. As soon as I saw the first one, I thought, well, nothing's changed. Nothing at all. Exactly the same.
But
See, I think
Basuma and Bergvall, I think, the three midfield.
Yeah, I agree mostly with two out of the three I agree with. I think it's going to be Bergvall and Basuma, but I think he would actually have Kulusevski. Kulusevski was a game changer not too long ago, and he was amazing on Sunday.
Oh, brilliant.
I just think that if we don't have James Maddison, we need to have someone like Kulu there.
See, he's another one. You play him in his preferred position, because you always said he was number 10 at Juventus, and he's always like, you chuck him out on the wing, he's not as effective, but now he's playing where he is. Good on him.
I think Ange still sees Kulu doing a job on the wing, because there's no reason to say that because Ferencvaros are probably not a top-notch side with respect to them, Kulu could probably work on the wing if you wanted to. See, we got lots of things you can blend with here, like, you can blend players in. Then you could play Bergvall and Kulusevski. If you played Kulu on the wing, who knows? He might go Son left, Solanke and Kulu on the wing, and then who knows? I mean,
do we think he's going to be
nice to have these options, though, isn't it?
I think if you look at our players that are very important to us, Maddison, Kulusevski, Solanke, Van der Ven, Romero, and Vicario. Well, obviously, some of those players you haven't. Yeah, Porro. I think you've got to, when you have the chance, is rest them, is give others a game. One, because you can't play them in every single game, and two, because you want the situation where if you do get injuries or suspensions, you've got players that are ready made to come in that have played and got the game time. So I think with I really do like Kulusevski and Maddison in that midfield. I think they work so well together, and I would hate to see one of them get injured before, say, Sunday. So I'll be quite happy if they're both on the bench.
You have to utilize the squad. You have to think about players' welfare as well. You have to use the squad that we've got. Our best midfield three for me is Bentancur, Kulu, Maddison, but I think you rest the three of them for Brighton, and you play Basuma, Sarr, and Bergvall.
Which isn't bad, was it really?
Yeah. It's a good midfield. Yeah, it's a solid midfield. But yeah, you have to sort of rest our better players. I think that's enough in midfield to see us through that game. But yeah, if needs be, we can bring on Kulu or Maddison, for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, like we did against Coventry. And if we're in a sticky situation, you've got them players to come off the bench and try and win you the game, haven't you? But I think we'll be comfortable if we have that midfield three anyway.
Yeah. I want to see Dorrington on the bench because I like the player. That's just my opinion. And I don't see him starting though. Angie's been pretty. You can read him pretty well when it comes to like the academy players. It's all second half, isn't it, with them? So yeah.
Alan's had to go and pick his kid up. Fine.
He knows he'll be back on at one time. Celtic got 6-1 down to Dortmund. Jesus Christ. Who's manager is Celtic? They've got a foreign manager now.
Brendan Rodgers, Brendan Rodgers, yeah.
All right. Yeah.
He ain't no Ange, is he?
No. So okay. Comments. Let's see if I've got any more banners.
There was a question in there. There was a question a few up. Chris has put a question in.
Good. Well, we'll go to it then.
Yeah, well, I can't.
I'll go to it if I can find it.
It was only about 4 or 5 comments up from there, 8. Adrian?
A bit more, I think, than that. Well, this one's the latest. Where's Chris?
Yeah, it's about 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5 up.
For you, it might be 5. Chris Peters is the nearest one. Is this it?
No, it's at 9:25.
9:25 Nita. Oh, right, okay.
There we go.
Ah, right.
As far as I understand, Chris, it's RFA, right? So they can only ban him for our games. They can't ban him from foreign games. It's not in their jurisdiction, is it?
Yeah. Did we not? Was it backstage we discussed this, or was it when the stream started we discussed
We're on the
this?
stream. Yeah.
Yeah. It was since. I mean, I don't think any of the wiser what's going to happen.
It's got to be available for Europe. RFA can't,
Yeah. As I said earlier, go to my number one source, Ali Gold. He was saying that he can play in Europe even if he got banned by FA.
I think it's domestic cups and league games. I think.
And the FA Cup is in January, so you'd like to think that the ban would be
10th
over
and
by that
11th.
time.
Yeah. Was this in Ali's last video he put on? Because it's about an hour and 25. I watched some of it, but it I'll watch his videos if they go on for an hour, but hour and a half's pushing it. But
well, you know what I do? What I do is if I'm working in the office, which I was today, so I'll have my breakfast in the morning, watch half an hour of it, and then watch the last hour when I get home.
Yeah.
I've updated this, guys, which I will keep updating on league games because we're off the preview now. We're not far away from Benticor and Madison and they're not going to get their way through to. I don't see them getting their way through to January. Not in midfield where it's busy, and not getting a ban. This is another thing with Benticor as well. Like it could be facing a one-match ban for 5 yellow cards.
I still don't believe how Madison's got 3. He must be back chatting the ref, surely.
That's what it is.
I mean, his staff should be keeping an eye on this as well because he's got to be thinking about games, you know. I mean, when we play Man City on the 25th, no, hang on, I think I put it.
30th we play Man City, isn't it?
I think it's a Wednesday now, I think.
Wednesday.
I think it's the 25th of October. Hang on. Right, that's the yellow card watch. If anyone's got any comments on that, no?
Well, I guess you could say you could excuse the defenders because, you know, they're defending and that's what happens. But Madison, I think, is the one that you think, well, hang on a minute, you know, you shouldn't be getting 3 yellow cards, really.
Yeah, Bentoncourt's in a position where, you know, you want your defensive midfielder to put in challenges and stuff, don't you? And, you know, he might miss a few, but yeah. I don't take much from that, to be honest.
This is going to be
that league games? Adrian, is that only Premier League games?
No, the FA covers League Cup as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, although we've only played 1 League Cup. So to be fair, we played five Premier League games and 1 League Cup. So we played 6 games.
We've got a bye through the first round. We've won the second round game. Win 3 games, we win the trophy. Ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, this is interesting against Man City. I didn't have a chance. I got this, and I haven't had a chance to go forward and look about their fixture list. But apparently, we're one of 4 Man City away games on the spin, and they've got no Rodri now. I mean, I fancy this against anyone at home. Now I've got to be honest. I think
Pepper's actually come out and said, doesn't he? He's only not the going to believe 100%, but he's actually come out and said he's going to play a second team, string team in that game anyway. So.
He isn't going for the League Cup, Pepe. He's going. He wants the Champions League and the league. There is two competitions that he goes for.
Yeah, it's not like he has anything to prove.
Yeah, I'd rather have had someone like Stoke, but I think that we can beat Man City in that game.
Well, last season it was 1-0, wasn't it? Was it 1-0?
Yeah.
That was in the cup as well early on, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was the 4th round of the FA Cup.
Yeah, it was.
February time.
That was a foul on the keeper as well, wasn't it? With that goal.
Yeah, that's what we're claiming that.
Yeah. I'll claim that.
Just going through the chats, and if you've got any questions in the chat, just put them to us.
Yeah, well,
And a big up to you all in the chat for following us. We are a fledgling group. We've still got 20 of you watching us, which is good.
Yeah. Well, all I got to say is hopefully they win Thursday because it is my birthday.
Oh,
right.
happy birthday for
Happy
Thursday.
birthday
Yeah.
for Thursday,
Yeah.
mate.
Oh, happy early birthday.
27.
No,
Happy early
you're
birthday. 20.
Yeah.
David Clark's come up with an interesting fact. I like facts. So, like, one game ban for 5 yellow cards up until the 19th game, which is halfway through the season, and 2 game ban for 10 yellows. So,
Yeah.
the end of the game. I think this is going to. I mean, I think our squad's good enough to cope with whatever's thrown up this year. I mean, I don't see us having such a horrendous bad luck as we did last year.
Well, we've got Yang coming in as well, haven't we, in January? Who knows? We might dip into the market again in January. You know,
He's like 12, isn't he?
Well, I hope we do. Because I've
I
noticed how we've been linked with.
Yeah.
I know. I hate the transfer window mentions at this time of year, and we ain't even up to Christmas yet. I mean, I hate the
A few months
transfer
away,
window,
just after Christmas.
but yeah, I mean, it showed where the holes are in the squad. I mean, we need a left back bad. We can cover the centre back positions, right? Even though we would do with. I mean, if Vuskovic isn't coming in, he's coming in, I think, in then as well. Unless we're taking him the end of the season, depends. And we still got Dorrington and Ashley Phillips on loan. Whether their loans can be cancelled in January, I don't know. I think clubs put it in their deal now, so if you don't play our players, we're taking them back, which I think is right, you know. And it's because it's not fair on the player and the club. So, yeah. Nita says happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Nita.
And big up to you. Thank you, Scott, for that.
Yeah, I just like to say it was my birthday back in August. Just like to say that.
Oh, right, okay, then back in August. Right?
Did you guys talk about the red card?
Hang on.
Yeah, we could talk about the red card out again. I mean, like, because my opinion is different to some of these guys. They think a yellow would have been fair enough. I think it's a definite red to me. I've seen red cards given for less than that. I mean,
Adrian, I can't. For me, I can't believe that you've seen back in the day some challenges. Do you know what I mean? You know, you've seen worse than that, surely.
Yeah, I have. But what the point for me on this, it wasn't whether on slow motion the tackle didn't look as bad as it looked in real time. The referee made the decision in real time. He didn't screw up, in my opinion. I think he made the right decision with what he saw in real time. And even the Spurs players went. And it wasn't like one or two players on a yellow card. You want someone sent off for a push or a shove or something. No, and I think it was a bit of spite for Fernandes. I thought he could have lowered his foot.
It's petulant, yeah. It's petulant, right? But it's not. You know, I wouldn't say he's endangering the player.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's a petulant foul where he's. Fernandes is that sort of player as well, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? He's that type of player. But for me, I've seen way worse challenges than that. Worse challenges.
No. If you watch the post-game interviews they did on Sky, what's his name? Fernandes come out and spoke after the game, and if you noticed at the time, Maddison was talking to him. It was like he was sort of departing the field, and he said that James said to him that he didn't think it was a red card, right? And he was just sort of saying, it's nothing to do with me, but I didn't think it was a red card. Personally, as I said at the beginning, it was one of those. Yes, it was a red, and we were all delighted it was. But if he'd give a yellow, none of us would have complained about it. So, to me, it was sort of an orange.
All this like friendly once the final whistle's gone. I mean, like, well, Maddison might have did that after the game. You do that to call things down moment past. But no, my point is, look at how Maddison reacted when the tackle went in. He rolled over. I mean, like he reacted to that tackle, as if it's actually worse than what it was that I saw, reacted to that. Now coming off and doing that with Fernandes, that's just being hypocritical. I mean, you just do that, don't you? Know what I mean?
Adrian, it's not a red, man.
That's opinions, and it's subjective.
I think when I saw the tackle, watching it live, I thought, oh, yellow card.
Yeah.
Bad tackle. Then when they showed it back, the replay at normal speed,
checks in the post, vaguely right.
when they showed the tackle back at normal speed, I thought, oh no, that's a red, because to me it looked like his foot was way up there, and he was slipping over, and he just tried to hack him down. But then when they showed it in slow motion, then you say, well, actually, no, it probably was a yellow card. So the big question about that is that when the VAR get involved, I think that's what they're all on about. But I was watching Ref Watch on Monday, and he was saying that apparently if it's because the referee and the linesman have actually seen the same thing and come to that decision, that's why they didn't get involved, because they want a team of referee and linesman or something.
Yeah. Like for me, it's not a red, but that aside, right, it had no bearing on the game for me at all. No. We smashed them from minute one with 11v11 anyway. It had no bearing on the game for me. And, we got fans saying that, playing down the win because of United being shit.
Oh.
But for me,
don't even go there, mate.
Like, for me, it's getting down to people protecting their own ego about egos and not sort of, being a fan of the club. Do you know what I mean? So it's like with Ange and certain players in the squad that they think that players and Ange isn't good enough. And they've gone too far with it now. And when players are proving themselves, and like Ange is proving himself with changing his tactics and adapting in games, as well as Johnson, being in form and against all the adversity that he's gone through with fans, being like they are on social media to him, then for me, they're just protecting their agendas on players. Where for me, it's a great win. It's a deserved win. We'd hardly get a result at Old Trafford. No. How many times have we won there in recent times? Not many.
No.
So we have to give boys credit for going to Old Trafford and getting the win and dominating from minute one.
Let's be honest. Let's
that's
be
the
honest.
way I see it anyway.
Yeah. If it was 7-0 on Sunday, there couldn't have been no complaints.
None
whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, Man United were lucky it was only 3. Because if Werner had his shooting boots on, it would have been 5. Solanke, Madison.
Johnson,
and Romero with
Johnson at the post.
And the thing is, the people that will complain about, we beat them 3-0, but they only had 10 men and they were rubbish. They'd be making the same complaint if we'd have won 1-0. Oh, should have beaten them more. Should have beaten them by more. So it's.
Let's talk about Destiny's point. And I like this. I'm so proud of my team, and I feel like we are a team to be feared now. Do you think teams are going to be frightened of us when we go away to play them, let alone play them at the Lane in front of 62, nearly 63,000?
Yeah,
right?
I do.
Oh, go on.
Definitely.
Go on.
I was going to say, I think Mickey Van de Ven doing what he did, running virtually the entire field to pass it on at the 6-yard line. I think teams are afraid of our defense. Definitely. The pairing with Romero, we just look. I mean, again, it was such a good game against Man United. Such a good game. Defensively, we were awesome. They just couldn't put passes together. In our midfield, the combination of Kulusevski and Madison is unreal. I think that is like the new pairing. If it was up to me, that's how it would always be. Have them on either side. It's just our finishing. I think if we could be even more clinical with our finishing, we would be like Aston Villa was last season. People were afraid of Aston Villa. People were afraid of Arsenal. People were afraid of Man City. And I think we could do that as well. Maybe not this year, but next year for sure, if we keep up the way we're going.
We have the same goals for and against as Arsenal. Exactly the same. I was told that I haven't double checked it, right? So in case I end up with egg on my face, right?
The thing I'll say about this, right? The thing I'll say about this is that it's early days. We've had 3 or 4 wins in a row now. Just keep it up for the next 4 or 5 games. I'm not running the team down because they've been marvelous, right? And Ange seems
apart from Coventry.
Well, apart from that, but we still won that. But we still won that. I mean, Ange seems to have tweaked a little bit and adjusted. I haven't seen that inverted stuff that I've been shouting about every stream I've been on. I've seen none of that, or hardly any of it.
Kamikaze football.
Yeah, all that kamikaze stuff. There's been hardly any of that. So it's early days. If he's adapting and learning, fair play to the man, and I hope it continues.
I want to say, a few things about this. Certainly in the Premier League, I think you can argue the point that we could have won all of our games that we played this season.
Yeah,
I don't think there's been any game that you could say, we deserve to lose that or draw that. I think that our defending has improved from last season. I think our defending from set pieces has improved from last season. I think Ange has put paid to the myth that he's unadaptable, because I think he's made certain tactical changes in certain games this season. I don't. Maybe fear is a strong word, but I don't think teams will be wanting to play us. They're certainly going to be aware of us.
No.
Yeah, I do know it's only 5 games in, and we got a long, long way to go, and we got some really good teams are going to play. But I think the start of the season is looking very, very promising, and I think we've seen how we can play when they play the system that he wants to play, which is fast, attacking, brave football.
Mm-hmm.
I think when we do play that way, we're very, very difficult to play against. Yeah, we're going to concede goals. That's just the way our football will happen. But I think we've got that ability now to score a lot more goals than we concede. That's stating the bleeding obvious, but and I think our squads, although it's not ideal, as Adrian was saying about the left back, we probably need cover there. But I think we've got some decent players in this squad. I'm not saying we've got Man City's squad. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is we've got cover for certain positions of players that are capable of playing, especially when you compare it to who we had coming in off the bench last season.
Yeah,
I think improvement there. And I'm honest enough to know that it's not set in stone that we're going to do well this season, but I think all the right signs are there, and we've just got to give them the chance. And we might play brilliant for 3 or 4 games and then have a crap game, and then play brilliant for another 3. We've just got to make sure we don't turn on the team like some people do when we have that one poor game, because that's what's really annoyed me about certain people all over social media, is that as soon as you get a bad game, that's it. Ange out, he's rubbish. And you hear all this sort of stuff. No, we got to give them. And I'll make the point. I'll make the final point is that our first 4 games last season, we're all going, we're going to win the league. Yeah. Suddenly this season, our first 4 games, we're rubbish. And neither of those first 4 games had any indication of what the season was going to be in the end. So let's
highlighting. The one that's highlighted for me is that the players seem to be playing for Ange Postecoglou, and they believe in what he's trying to do. They believe in his system. And it shows on the pitch for me, especially this season. That they are playing for the manager, and that's that's an important thing to have. Do you know what I mean?
Good point, because I know, especially when we scored goals and the players run over to the fans, the way the players were screaming, the old warrior coming out, and I'm like fighting for this. We're fighting for this. Like you could see it. You could see the fight. Like,
yeah, right. The last thing I was going to say is, right, I've been on this show for Lord knows how many weeks now, and I'm always on here moaning, groaning. But at times like this, you won't hear no moaning, you won't hear no groaning. If a team do well, and they stop all this kamikaze stuff where we were so easy to score against, it was silly, really. But if we play like we have been the last 4 or 5 games, I'll be the biggest happy clapper in the world.
Mark, you're 100% on that, right? I've doubted Johnson, right? I've doubted Johnson. I've doubted Ange at times. I have doubted Ange at times, but I can be humble and say that I've been wrong. I've been wrong on, I had my doubts, but I haven't got my doubts now because, we are playing well at the moment, and the players believe in Ange at the moment. So, but when you get certain parts of the fan base that double down on their opinions when they're wrong, and they try and make excuses for that and say that United, downplaying wins, downplaying players that have scored against lower opposition, that for me is a cop out, and not actually just but believing in the team and actually seeing the bigger picture that these players as bad as what we think they are? Is Ange as bad as what we think he is? I don't think they are. I don't think they are at all.
Just one caveat to what you said. Like, I know I've been on here moaning Ange is rubbish, Ange is like suicide football, this, that, and the other. Like, but I've always caveated it with, if he proves me wrong, I'll be the first to hold my hands up and say, look, he's learning. To me, in my eyes now, he is learning, because when was the last time there was that one ball down the side or over the top? And it was the Newcastle game, I think.
He's been a manager for 26 years.
No,
I think the Spurs
if this is going to continue, if this is going to continue, and we stop conceding those silly goals, and we play especially like we did Sunday, then I'll be here, I'll hold my hands up and say, look, Ange is a genius.
Yeah. I mean, all fans can be reactionary. All fans can be flipping. You know what I mean? It's not just Spurs fans that do that. Every fan that does that. But it's all about seeing the bigger picture and, giving these players a chance. The manager a chance, do you know what I mean?
Is that for you? Is that for you, this comment?
What's that? What's that say? Stand up.
Come from
Shropshire.
Oh, you come from. Yeah.
Well, it's certainly not for me.
Nice one, nice one over there.
I'm presuming that's somewhere in the middle.
We'll talk about Brighton more on Friday, because we've got to get Ferencvaros out of the way first. But just to finish with, Sunday's game. I mean, these games are so appealing. It's like going to be the battle of the high lines, isn't it? Us against
You'll be in the centre circle, aren't they? All like
everyone's going to be crammed in the middle of the pitch, like 22 players. Like
it'd be a basketball game.
Oh, put money on 0-0 then.
Yeah,
we usually do well there and scrape a win against the run of play at our place against them. That's what normally happens, right? Yeah, I don't know. Where are they in the league? How many games have they won?
I was just looking now, Adrian.
They started off well, but they've had a couple of bad defeats, haven't they? I think Chelsea beat them, didn't they? And I think they might have lost before. But they've done well.
They're a good side. They're a good side, Brighton. They're a good side. They're a very good side. I think it's United. I don't think United are as bad as what people make out. I think their first 11 is good. I just think Ten Hag is making them worse than what they actually look. Yeah. I think they've actually got some good players there. But with Brighton, I think they're a better team than what United are right now, and I think it'll be a better win if we win there.
I agree. It's going to be a tough game up there.
But
we're 1 point above them. They're just sitting below us.
Yeah.
But I'm confident we can do well there. I'm confident we can do well. It's one of those games where if you see the performance we've been playing and we win it, great. If we perform like we have been performing and we lose against a decent team, then you have to say, okay, we were beaten by a better team. So, yeah, so
fair play, innit?
whatever the result is, I mean, obviously I want to win, and don't get me wrong, I want to play crap and still win. But if we do go up there and lose or draw, if that's deserved by the other team, then fine.
I think it'll be a cracking game. I do. Both teams play attacking football and they play the high line. I think it'll be, I think it'll be a cracking game.
It'll be like a game of basketball. Like you said, it'll be 7-6.
I want your game predictions for Ferencvaros, and I also want your prediction, right, between the international break, the 6th and the 14th for job. Does Ten Hag lose his job? We do Ten Hag first, right? We do Ten Hag first. I'll go last.
Right. Who have United got next? They've got Porto, haven't they? Who have they got after that? Is it Villa?
We got Villa, yeah.
Oh, all right, Villa. I was just about to have a look.
In the chat,
Villa away.
In the chat, does Ten Hag? I don't think they'd sack him before because international break. You can do a switch because they've brought back. Is it Van Nistelrooy? Is he back?
Yeah.
What to play?
What they can do with him?
Yeah.
I don't think they will. Because they keep coming out. Well, they keep coming out with a dreaded vote of confidence, don't they?
But
I'm not so sure there's anyone.
When Solskjaer was there, like suddenly they're under pressure, don't win the next game. Then they seem to scrape a win, and then they might scrape a draw, and then they lose again. They're having the same conversation again, and then it just keeps repeating itself, doesn't it?
It's actually
win 2 trophies and be in that position. I just think it'd be disgusting. We'd be building a statue outside our ground. We want to
I was thinking about earlier tonight, actually, that suddenly struck me. When we played Manchester United at home, it was the sacking derby, and we lost at home. I think Solskjaer might have been the manager then. We lost at home to Man United 3-0. Nuno got sacked.
Yeah,
saying more or less the same thing about Sunday's game, and this time Man United lost at home 3-0 to us. But obviously Ten Hag's still there. But I was just thinking about it. So it's funny how history sort of repeats itself.
After the way we beat him Sunday, I was surprised he won't go on Sunday, to be honest, because like I watch. There's a couple of United channels I tune into occasionally, and they're all moaning about him. Like it's not just one or two, like all of them. All of them are just like, and he can't actually say that he's not had the money. He's spent like 600 million.
I couldn't believe when I saw a list of it.
A lot of them wanted him gone after the FA Cup final win.
Yeah.
Now, see, I watch a lot of expressions. Like he's my favourite Spurs.
Yeah, he's quality. Yeah.
I haven't seen him for a while. Actually, I must find this Man United one. I'll have a look at
right,
it.
And he does a program. He does a show with his brother, like rants and
bants, is it? Yeah,
rants and bants, and that's his actual brother, and they do a show.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah, and Rance has been saying for months and months that he wants Ten Hag gone, and he kept saying the FA Cup has saved him his job just because they brought a trophy in. But like, none of the Man United fans, from what I've seen, rate him.
Well, I think if Porto and Villa beat United, I could see him going after them 2 games. It's a result. It's a results business at the end of the day. And Ten Hag is on borrowed time, 100%.
The players didn't look as though they were playing for him, did they?
Yeah,
they look lost anyway, whether it's a system. Go on, Brad. Sorry, go on.
Like I said, the only problem with that is I don't think there's anyone out there that they want to bring in at the moment. Because it's a one thing that you maybe do at the end of the season when you've got more of a, you see who's available. But at the moment, because, they haven't got it right, really. Since Ferguson left, they haven't got it right at all.
No. And I felt sorry for, who was it coming after? The one who went to West Ham, wasn't it, coming after Fergie?
Oh, Moyes, yeah.
I felt so sorry for him, because how the hell do you replace Fergie?
Yeah.
But you got to remember as well. Now, I'm not disrespecting Tottenham, because obviously I love Tottenham, But Man United are like massive. The expectations they got at that club, especially where they were.
The title they'd won.
It's not just the managers. It's not just the managers that they've got wrong, though. It's the board as well, isn't it? But like,
they're going to get rid of him, right? He's going. Whether it's the end of the season or not, he's going, right? So do you think? I mean, do you think it'd be they'd go for Pochettino, buy his contract out? Do you think they'd go for a Thomas Frank? Do you think they would go for Southgate?
you got Tuchel as well, haven't you? You got Tuchel that's available.
Is Nagelsmann still? Is he?
No, he's in Germany, isn't he? But you got Tuchel, Thomas Tuchel.
I mean, they wanted Poch quite a few times in the past, didn't they? They couldn't get him. I know he's got the national side now, America, isn't it? So,
what you were saying earlier, Adrian, about losing the dressing room and that, I was watching, as I say, on Ref Watch on Monday. They normally have the ex Liverpool and Blackburn player, covering his name.
Warnock.
That's it. Yeah, I think it's not too bad actually. But this time they had Dean Ashton, the ex Bristol City West Ham striker, and he said some really interesting things. And he said about this Ten Hag situation. He says, "I've been a player." He goes, and yeah, they will be talking about this. They will be having their little groups chatting about if they're upset at all with anything that's happening there. They'll be talking behind his back about what's going on there. So losing the dressing room, that's the sort of thing that can happen. And getting back to Spurs, I think Spurs at the moment, what you said earlier, Mark, about they want to play the way he wants to play. I think that's a great thing we've got going there at Tottenham at the moment. Is that they're all one big happy family. I know it's a cliche, but I think it's really important. They want to play for each other and that sort of thing. So yeah, I think that Ten Hag's walking on dangerous ground at the moment. But
No, you, Brad, and you, Adrian, should know what N14 is. That's why I put in there N14 in at United. Allegedly, I don't know, but that's Southgate.
Is it
that's
really?
That's the postcode for Southgate.
Oh,
well,
allegedly,
he would shore them up, but they see on paper they've got like what you consider. I mean, look, when we comment on other teams, we usually comment when a player's playing well. I remember people were raving about Diaby at Villa before we played them and all that, and all these other players. And then when I watched us play against them at Villa, they were poor, and we win 4-0, things like that. And they're going to tear us one and everything else like that. And most of the times I get to watch other players is the home and away games when we play them. The rest you read about in the press, and I don't go out deliberately to watch every Premier League game I could play. I'd rather watch our under-21s, to be honest with you, right? So, but they'll be on different days anyway, probably. So I squeeze a few in when I'm in the mood, but because I just stream them. I don't pay for Sky or anything like that. So, yeah. So, I mean, like, they're players on paper. Whenever they get a player in, you actually think, oh, it's Man United. They played loads of money for him. He must be a good player. They look disjointed. They lack cohesion. I mean, if Fernandes ain't on his game, Man United don't seem to play that well. Casemiro, how much they pay for him off of Real Madrid? And also the short centre back who started well, they got from Ajax, not
Martin.
He's looking shaky at the moment. I think De Ligt was probably their best defender on the day, but I mean, like, Martin is looking shaky as hell as well.
Someone made the point.
They're not that bad. They're not that bad. You look at their first 11. You go through, on paper, they've got a good side. Ten Hag is making them worse than what they look. 100%. If you get a Tuchel or a different manager in there, guaranteed they'll be flying up the table.
If you're taking two players out of that team, you're not going for the experienced ones. You're taking Mainu and you're taking Garnacho, aren't you? Really? Because they look good players. I mean, like, but don't know what's happened to Rashford. He seems to have one season when he's doing well and goes for a spell, then he falls out of it. I mean, I don't get it.
Confidence is a massive thing in football. Even with when the manager's at helm as well, and they're not getting results. When they ain't getting results, players don't believe in what they're trying to do. And that's what's wrong at United at the moment. The players aren't believing in Ten Hag.
Yeah, they don't like no one's frightened of going to Man United, are they? Now to play 'em? You know,
Brighton
no
won
one's-
up there, didn't they? Didn't Brighton win the first game of the season? Or was that last
They've
season?
lost. They've lost 3 games already. Liverpool beat them.
I'll tell you what. What was funny on Sunday was the fact that when I went to see the Newcastle Tottenham game at the pub, and then after that was Man United Liverpool, and Liverpool absolutely slaughtered them that day 3-0. And I'm watching that thinking, oh, look at this Liverpool team out there. Why can't we go to Old Trafford and win those sort of games? And we did.
Yeah.
And then Forest go to Liverpool and win there, and they won there 30, 40 or whatever it is, 50 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I'm not. I mean, I hate to say it, Man City and Arsenal are the benchmark for this season. And if Man City get a points deduction, that's virtually giving Arsenal the league, really. You know, so we don't want that to happen.
No,
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't think there's much difference between Liverpool and Villa and us, to be honest with you. I really don't.
No,
I think we're away from Liverpool at the moment, Adrian. I don't think we're right. I don't think we're right by Liverpool at the moment.
No.
Well, Liverpool are top.
Last year of them last season, I wasn't convinced with Núñez. I wasn't convinced with the wide winger they nicked off of us. We were trying to get him and all, but then he scores them goals at Man United away, didn't he? Right, Diaz, right, and they just. I mean, like we're showing a cohesion now. We don't look disjointed now, but I don't. What I see at Liverpool, I mean, they look smooth and fluent at Man United away, but. You know, then they go and lose a game. And I'm just from last season more than this season. I haven't seen them. I don't think I've seen them play 90 minutes.
No, I agree. No, I think we're way off at the moment. I'm not saying we can't get there at some stage.
I got a feeling Klopp looked at that squad and thought now might be a good time to leave because I don't think this team's got a. I mean, he might think, I'll get top 4, but Klopp having his pride, he might have thought there's too much to do. And they brought a few kids in, which are good. I mean, Curtis Jones has been a good player for a few years now, so he must be in his 20s now, mid-20s now. And I'm not convinced with that Slobolob, whatever his name is. I mean, that player in midfield. Yeah. But, all right, McAllister's, decent player.
No, he's
Gravenberch is good in midfield. Gravenberch is a good player.
They've certainly got a confidence about them, haven't they? They seem to.
Trent's good. You know, I mean, like he's good. The goalkeeper's good.
My fantasy team.
But like I just they don't frighten me. You know.
Well, that's what Tottenham have to do this season. We have to get some result. I'm not saying win all of them, but we have to get results at Anfield, the Etihad. The Emirates, Stamford Bridge. That's where we need to pick up some points because
outside of Liverpool, Man United, Man City, and Arsenal, I don't really fear a team. Outside of that, I think we're quite capable. We're quite capable of beating them on the day. Any team in the Premier League, but you know, the top 3, Liverpool, Arsenal, and City, they are the benchmark. Anything below that is we should be getting a result against. Do you know what I mean? Whether it be a draw or a win,
we should be concentrating on closing the gap points wise between those 3 teams from say last season.
I hate to say it, but Chelsea are looking on fire.
Yeah. I think I'd fancy Chelsea more than Liverpool.
Yeah, my prediction at the start of the season was that they wouldn't do anything because they got too many players in their squad, but I seem to be pretty wrong at the moment anyway. So
at the moment,
a bit shaky, but going forward they're good.
I was going to say Cole. I always call him Cole Porter for some reason. I'm not even old enough to remember Cole Porter. That's something from a dad's generation, but.
Yeah, 40 million as well. 40 mil.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, they're going to have a fire sale sooner or later, Chelsea, aren't they?
We'd hope
Just
so.
to get rid of some of them. I mean, Madueke, who was playing for us, the winger, you know, I mean, like, who went off to Holland from us when he was in our youth set up, and Chelsea paid, I don't know, I think they paid about 30-40 million for him, didn't they, from Holland? And he's got competition in his places. Cucurella's looking a bit better this season when I've seen him, because he's another one's hot or cold, the fullback. But I don't see enough to really give a true assessment. You know, then you've got to go to stats and other things, and like it takes enough time keeping up with all the Spurs data and waiting for the next PR blunder by the club. You know, it's true, because
Surely not, Adrian. Surely our club doesn't make PR blunders. Can't believe that.
I mean, today I know they covered it in a couple of shows. If you want to go on for about another 5 minutes or whatever, but there was talk about the Stavely and Arab consortium buying a chunk in Spurs. They're not going to buy the club. The club is worth 5 times its revenue, which was last year was 550 million, which valued the club at 2.75 bill. They might buy a 500 million pound stake. What Levy will give them for that, I don't know.
Well, that woman and the
free Skywalk for 500 million.
And a go-kart race.
Did you see what Simon Jordan said about a month or so ago on Talk Sport?
No, I didn't.
He just really laid into it, because they had an interview with her when she's at Newcastle saying, "Oh, we're going to win the Champions League one day. It's guaranteed. I guarantee it. We're going to win the Champions League." And then obviously she left. But yeah, he won't have a bar of. I mean, they're only brokers, though. I don't think they are the actual buyers. I think they're just brokers. They broker the deal for money, you know, for people getting investment in the club. But
yeah. And if you've got money sitting in a bank, you don't earn no money, I still don't want to invest in the club. But if people think that they're not then going to like buy a stake in the club and then invest another 100 to 300 million in the football team, they're just going to sit on their investment, because that's what the word means, investment. Well, when the hotel's built and the new training grill's built for the win, and they're world class, and they do a few construction jobs around the ground, then what happens is, as Tottenham becomes gentrified, the value of the land goes up, so the value of your equity goes up. I mean, you look at the value of Chelsea's ground per acre to Tottenham, right? You know, Tottenham's about £3 an acre, and like in Chelsea it's about 30 million an acre, you know, or more. Yeah, so it's like, and then what if we get the money? You know, I'm not excited. I mean, what does Levy do with the money? Well, you know, I mean, he could bin the lot. I mean, they might have to give some to shareholders or whatever. I mean, I don't know how that works, because for any deal to go
shareholders,
go in front of shareholders. So then there's got to be, what happens? Do we get a drink out of this money or whatever? Or what?
No.
Start brewing cider, right? So
you know exactly where the money's going. It'll be put into building the magnificent hotel that's going to be in front of the South Stand. That's exactly
what Karabakh could have done with last week.
Right?
Yeah.
So that goes to like increasing like the value of the club. Same with the training ground, which they're leasing off Enfield Council for 2 or 3 mil or whatever it is.
Well, I'm not worried about that. I want to see it spent on the pitch.
Is it true that they had to go off the coach, Karabakh? They had to walk the rest of the way.
No, I think there's a lot of stories going around, isn't there?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Trying to make excuses, but like, hang on, you're playing 11 against 10 for 88 minutes, and you're making excuses about walking to the stadium. No. The maths don't add up. You know what I mean? Sorry, I'm not one. They don't. Nice try, though. You know.
Apparently, Ali Gold said that they didn't. The coach made it. That the coach did make it to the ground.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know where I heard that.
I mean, the thing is, you would have seen it on social media somewhere. Someone would have
got
Yeah. You can guarantee.
Right, guys. I think we've talked enough tonight. We'll be back. We'll be back here on Friday, guys, for the post-match discussion on Ferencvaros and a preview of Brighton on Sunday. So we'll have lots to chat about on then, right? I want to thank everyone in the chat. I know it's Tuesday, not the busiest of times for people, work and all that, for their contributions. Please, if you like the content, subscribe to the channel, give the videos a thumbs up, and leave a comment. And please leave a comment. I thank my guest. I'm not going to name him. You know you are when you come on the show.
Adrian, even like allegedly, I don't know, but if you're watching this on playback, put a comment in afterwards, because that helps the algorithm. Yeah, that thing. Allegedly, I don't know.
Yes, Nita. Thank you.
I'll sign off and just say Anjin. That's all I'm going to say.
Right. Okay.
Spurs,